Hello. Um, I want to preface by saying that I'm not going to argue that organic dairy farming is cruel. I'm going to argue that organic dairy farming is exploitative and is one part of a system of speciesist oppression. There's a pretty big difference there. And I think to argue this point, based on exploitation, is the original purpose of veganism as put forth by the vegan society. That is, to stop the exploitation of other animals by human animals. In recent years, the animal welfare movement, concerned with cruel versus humane treatment, has co-opted the term vegan and taken it to mean something else, a sort of anti-suffering movement. But true veganism, I would argue, is about more than anti-suffering. It's about the vegan ideal of non-exploitation, which says that other animals are not ours to use, no matter how kindly we use them. I also want to say, I bet that many of the vegans you've talked to so far are not really vegans in the sense that the vegan society meant it. It sounds like you've gotten into a lot of debates concerning cruelty and humane treatment, but a vegan in the original sense would not spend long on these points because veganism is not a movement for humane treatment of the animals we exploit, a treat the slaves better movement, but instead a movement to stop the exploitation or the slavery altogether. For this definition of veganism and on the distinction between these different views, I refer you to the writing that I've linked in the little box over there, um, titled "Veganism Defined" from the Vegan Society, from Leslie Cross from the Vegan Society, as well as to the writings from the Vegan Ideal, a blog at thveganideal.blogspot.com, and writings from Living Opposed to Violence and Exploitation, Love, a vegan community that I helped start at loveallbeings.org. Now, I'd like to comment on some other points in your video seen from this perspective, my perspective and the perspective of one who follows or believes in the vegan ideal. At 49 seconds, roughly, notice once again that your conclusion, milking a cow is not a cruel act, focuses solely on the suffering or pleasure felt by the cow. Because of this focus on suffering, you draw attention away from the deeper problem of human supremacy. So, does milking hurt the cow? Not necessarily. But it does, in a society where we clearly don't need milk to survive, necessarily disrespect the cow's existence as an equal fellow animal. At 135 about, you ask, what else is the use of a cow besides being milked? Here you're viewing cows only in terms of their use, their utility to humans. This is speciesist. A more egalitarian and vegan perspective would be that cows exist in order to exist, just like humans, and that we have no right to judge or limit that existence. Um, at 218 about, you talk about a hypothetical vegan farmer who owns chickens, but this would never happen. Vegans don't believe in one individual owning another individual. That idea is one very in line with the master and slave relationship, which veganism challenges. And that idea is generally signifies a massive power imbalance between the human owner and the non-human owned, which vegans also challenge. Vegans, at least those who follow the original doctrine and meaning of veganism, do not and will never own chickens or any other animal, human or non-human. And finally, at 335 about, you're right that no one necessarily had to die or suffer in order for organic dairy products to be produced or consumed. But individuals still had to be exploited, confined, controlled, and generally oppressed. Individuals on organic dairy farms are being denied the right to choose their own lives. Vegans, including myself, assert that everyone should be able to choose their own life. That's no matter what species, what race, what class, what gender, what age, what ability, everyone should be able to choose their own life. That is a main part of the vegan ideal of non-exploitation. Um, I'll understand if this is all simply not what you've heard about veganism in the past. Uh, I encourage you to explore this view of veganism, the anti-oppression view, some term it, through the sources I mentioned earlier, and which are in the sidebar thing. The Vegan Ideal and Love at respectively theveganideal.blogspot.com and loveallbeings.org.